We've all been in tight spots in competitive settings before.
Damn, we're in a tight spot.
Whether playing a sport, a video game, or mahjong, these pressure situations can come up quite frequently. And the prevailing logic is that to mount a comeback or close out the tight race, all we have to do is lock in. But what does it actually mean to lock in? Well, for the past several months, I've taken it upon myself to delve into the subject of sports psychology in order to answer this age-old question. So without further ado, this is how to lock in mid-game according to sports psychology. Starting with the most important piece of advice found in every single sports psychology book, focusing attention outward. It's so easy to get caught up in past plays gone wrong or worrying about the outcome of a match, so much so that we lose grip on the only thing that really matters, the game playing out right in front of us. By taking note of things in our current environment, we call our attention to the present moment. In sports that require a ball, watching or seeing the ball is an obvious point of focus. And the more micro we can get with seeing an object, the more focused our attention will be. For example, instead of watching the ball in tennis, we could start watching the rotation of the seams of the ball. This will give us an even deeper focus and can have a slowing down time effect.
What you doing? You say, I'm counting. I'm counting the spins on the ball. You say, when you shoot, your ball spin like 3 times. Joe sometimes spin 4. This dude was counting the rotations on the ball on every player.
Focusing our attention outward means we can cut out all the noise caused by our ego brain, quiet our consciousness, and achieve pure signal. It means that we will remain in the present, giving us more time and fluidity to execute. The amount of focus given to a single object versus multiple will be sport dependent. In boxing, it won't do us any good to only watch the opponent's lead hand, but it still has to be a point of focus. The important thing is that we are paying attention to a thing or things occurring in the present. Even just asking ourselves how many details can I pick out in the environment helps tremendously. After a while, we might achieve a state of total awareness where we start to see and feel everything entering that flow state. But getting into flow isn't even really what locking in is about, as it can be unreliable and even top athletes only experience flow about 10 to 20% of the time they perform. Locking in is rather a clutch state, because of the deliberate focus required by the situational demands. And the first demand, whatever that may be, is happening out there. The method that I found to be the next most helpful is the shooter's mentality. This comes from the book The Confident Mind and is a method used by basketball players to gain confidence when bad things happen. However, the method can be applied to any sport. The thought process is this: any missed shot makes the next shot more likely to go in. This makes it so after misses, we are not hesitant to take another shot because we understand that our odds of making it just went up. On the flip side, you might be asking, but what if we just made 3 shots in a row? Does our likelihood of missing go up? Well, no. If we're playing hot, we just stay hot. Simple as that. The odds always stay in our favor when we make shots and get even better when we miss shots. Clearly, this thinking is not logically sound at all. But we're not here to be Socrates, we're here to be draining threes. Now with logic bent to our favor, our confidence cannot be shaken and there's nothing stopping us from locking in. In areas where the shooter's mentality won't apply, another form of mentality can be adopted to deal with other suboptimal events that arise. And that would be using judgment-free thinking to minimize the anxiety of trivial mistakes. To minimize anxiety, we want to see each event with judgment-free observation. Instead of being partial to events as good or bad and why those events were good or bad, which can introduce ego and end up taking us out of the present by distracting us with thoughts of technique and outcome, we simply see things that happen, take note, and move on, realizing that some events are isolated incidences with no bearing on the future and that the current play is all that really matters. Trivial mistakes in sports are inevitable, and if we are proactive in minimizing their effects, we will have better performances. Here's a great example of the kind of non-partial mentality we want to implement.
When you airball in practice, you got to stop play. You got to drop the ball, run down
Everybody
and back.
say, we'll wait.
Yeah, we'll say we'll wait.
Nobody's above the law.
Nobody's above the law. That's B. Shaw saying. So finally, why? I'm not running. Straight up. And B. Shaw, nobody's above the law. He It's basketball. I'm an airball again. You're not about to coach me or teach me that, like, airballing is, like, not good. It's part of the game.
Kawhi is right. Airballs happen. And while every single player saw this as a huge negative, expecting Kawhi to run as punishment, Kawhi knows that he's a great shooter and that this one isolated event has no real relevancy to his game, and that attaching negativity to the airball can actually hinder his future shots. One of the best ways to start down the path of letting mistakes bounce off of us is to simply cut out our own negative remarks. After a suboptimal event happens due to a fluke error in fundamental skill in-game, pay attention to your reaction. Do you say anything negative? Do you make a frustrated noise? Do you grab your head in disbelief? Just cutting out those negative responses can feel like a weight being lifted because we're not dwelling on any negativity. Another way to think without the ego mind is to cut out pronouns and simply state what happened with detached language when making observations. So instead of saying, "I can't believe I missed that putt, it was so close," just say, "Okay, the ball came up short of the hole," and then boom, on to the next tap-in. Another way to quickly move on from a suboptimal event is to create a sensory mechanism by which you acknowledge the event and release the event so you can refocus attention on the present. So this could be as simple as adjusting a garment, bouncing the ball, or just taking a breath. The recipe for success is having high standards when performing, but a low tolerance for dwelling on mistakes. Next, I want to talk about the point and call method. While it's important to have total trust in our technique and ability when performing, some sports require mid-game adjustments in strategy, option selection, and/or habit changes, especially combat sports. This can still be done using that same judgment-free state of mind, but requires a bit more cognition and conscious thought if we want to quickly implement the adaptation. This is where the point and call method comes in. All it is acknowledging and stating out loud a habit you want to implement or calling out a habit of an opponent that can be exploited. So let's say we notice your opponent always moves his head left when we throw our jab. So we can say to ourselves, left on jab. Next thing we know, we're finding a nice counter shot. This is essentially what corner advice is, except you have other people doing the pointing and calling for you. Actually speaking readies up the action more than if we were to just think about it, and therefore we are able to utilize the change in real time more effectively.
I think I need to work his body. We need to try to get him to block low because he's shelling up. Let's get some kicks in.
We also want to frame everything we say in a positive way and in the present tense. So if we are dropping our hands too much in boxing, we wouldn't say don't drop hands, but instead simply hands up. So there it is. There's a few things you can use mid-game to start locking in. Start using them, or at the very least the first two, and see if you notice a difference in your performance. So to recap the major points, to lock in, we want to focus our attention outward, use the shooter's mentality to maintain high confidence, minimize anxiety by being judgment-free and cutting out negative reactions to flukes, and adjust our strategy with the point and call method. If you found any of this interesting, please be sure to like and subscribe. I'll probably do a part 2 on this stuff because I like learning about it, and I think it's just an overlooked area in general when it comes to sports analysis and commentary. So yeah, take care, y'all.